1 in every 5 Australians have a disability. Yet, only 38% of small to medium businesses have measures in place to ensure they remain accessible. Simone Eyles from Disinfluencer is on a mission to change that. What if your content could work as hard as you do without you creating more? Welcome to Create Like a Human. I'm your host, Isabel Chen, content strategist and founder of Fairfox Digital. And this is the podcast for established, high-achieving founders who are ready for storytelling-centered marketing strategies that don't die within a week. So hi, today I have Simone from Disinfluencer with me.
Thanks for having me. What do I do? Disinfluencer is a certified social enterprise, and we help businesses and brands be inclusive, and we do that with our inclusive stock library. So we represent disabled artists who want to work in the creative industries, and we help them with opportunities and pathways and paid employment.
Yes. And one thing I would say is when I first discovered you, Simone, I can't remember where it was from. Was it from Ripple Festival?
Must have been from Ripple, which I was supposed to be at but wasn't. But yes, Mia gave me a plug. Thanks, Mia. Yes.
Yeah. And when I was looking at your Instagram, I realized this was exactly what I had been looking for when I was working in the disability space. Because there is a gap in the market, which you are filling, in terms of inclusive stock photos. Like a lot of the stock photos on Adobe, on Envato, and all those paid stock photo sites, they have people with disability, but they're not being represented, I guess, like realistically. It's all really fake.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's very stereotypical. So like an old white guy in a wheelchair pointing at in a boardroom, kind of stereotypical images, and also very American style imagery where we're in Australia. You can tell, our landscape. We do a lot of Australiana imagery. And yeah, there's none of that. Also, we try to focus on having images of people together, like not just one random disabled person in the mix, like it's a bunch of disabled people doing their thing together, which you rarely find in stock libraries as well.
So why do you think representation is so important, especially in the online space?
It's important because I have a disabled child and I'm a marketer, and I've never seen my child or our family represented in media and marketing and advertising. 1 in 5 people have a disability. It represents an $18 trillion global market. And I'm talking about the food we eat, the clothes we wear, the brands we love, the products we use. People with disabilities are rarely seen as consumers or customers or stakeholders or even employers. And like you said, any representation in the media is very tokenistic and not true. So I was frustrated with that. And I went to the brands and I'm like, where's your representation? And they're like, well, where do we find the people? And I'm like, oh, okay. So there was a gap there for on their end to get access. And as I have a child with a disability, I also know a lot of other families like mine. And, you'll see her on my social media a lot. Katie, my muse, she's a young woman with Down syndrome. She's my friend's daughter. And she loves fashion, just like most other young women. So where is her representation in fashion? Like you rarely see it. There was a huge gap from my end, from their end. And I started creating kind of brand content, which was really hard to do for me, but then I thought I could do brand agnostic content and create the stock library, which I did. And then obviously if you see someone in the stock library you can book them as an artist or talent for a TVC or a campaign or whatever. But we just want to get as many images out there into as many brands as possible so they can have that authentic, diverse representation that is ethical as well. Like all our guys are paid, all the media releases are done, like everything's done. And I guess, back to our mission and our social enterprise aspect is when we shoot content, we give people opportunities, not like it's transferable skills like coming to set, they have a great experience, hair and makeup. We look after the family, we talk to the brands. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's not just about the images in the gallery, and there's transferable skills. And also for people and their families like mine to be seen and treated like regular people going to work, which trust me, rarely happens. So there's so many other things we do that is involved in our work.
And I guess because you said you started doing this because there was a gap in the market, right? Um, in terms of, say, for example, small business owners, like what could they do if they're not, I guess, if they're not ready for stock photos, like what could they do to be more inclusive and make things more accessible for their audiences? Because I feel like a lot of people don't know about this, like how
Yeah.
to actually be accessible.
Yeah, so what I say to people is if you don't need images or if you want to start your inclusion journey is to have an accessibility statement. Now, all of this comes from the WGAG, the World
WCA,
WC3,
that
whatever,
one, yeah.
you know what it is, yeah.
We'll
Um,
put it in the show notes
yeah, so
once I've looked it up.
there's things you can do today. So captioning all of your videos on social media, you can literally click a button and put captions on. When people bullet point with emojis, that's if you think of a screen reader, like imagine a screen reader reading content and it's like dancing emoji lady, blah, blah, blah. Like that really interrupts the flow of understanding content with a screen reader. But what I would suggest, hashtags, sorry, just one more, hashtags, camel case your hashtags. So a screen reader can read the hashtag. And if you just have a whole bunch of words together, lowercase, like it won't be able to be read. This is really important with your SEO as well. The tech giants want you to be accessible, so that content is rewarded with how it's indexed. Image descriptions. So you'll see a lot of content, they'll have their image descriptions on the images. I do that on my images, but you also should embed it as alt text on your website and across your social media, again for screen readers. But yes, so there's a few things that you can just do right now, easy peasy. I always recommend people start with an accessibility statement. I have a tool on my website that you can buy to do this with the swipe copy, but it's not just a statement saying, it's about a process of saying within my team, even if I'm a team of one, if there's a barrier of access for my potential clients or users or stakeholders, they can contact me and I will try and resolve that for them. So I think that's really important because you can have that on your website. I have mine on my website in my footer. I also have like a statement on my website because for me as a mum, and I think people just really don't understand how big the market is, I will spend my money with people that share my values. And as a mum of a disabled kid, I also know how to overcome all of his access needs. So if you have a thing that I'm interested in, and I can contact someone and find out about the accessibility requirements, I'm not necessarily asking you to fix that for me or resolve it for me. It's like I can have someone I'm confident I can have a conversation with and go, okay, well, I can go to that thing or I can buy that thing or I can use that thing because in my mind, I know how to overcome that accessibility. So I think it's just about feeling seen and heard and valued as a consumer, as a human being, that you see me and there might be a barrier there, but we can have a conversation and between us, you, me, we can resolve that and everybody gets to do the thing, buy the thing, go to the thing.
Yeah, it's not really about guilt, making people feel guilty, right? It's more like you want to help them understand how to support
Yeah,
people
yeah.
better.
A lot of what I do, especially having conversations like this, is I feel like if you are not familiar with the disability space, it can be quite confronting and people like do nothing because they're scared of doing something wrong. And the disability community is busting to be included. And the best way to overcome that is just to have that kind of open conversation of, hey, we see you. How can we work with you? And I think people are too scared to do that because they don't want to get anything wrong where, from our point of view, we're like, please see us. Like, you can't get anything wrong. If you are kind, if you have kindness and curiosity, you will never get it wrong.
I think I'm going to have to talk to you about this afterwards because I don't even know if I have an accessibility statement on my website, to be honest. I don't think I do. And then about the emoji thing, I didn't know that because I like to do that. I like to do like emoji, da da da, emoji, da da da, emoji, and then the words.
Yeah, and I just think, this just goes to show this is about education. How many of your customers are using screen readers? Like how many people are using screen readers? And it's not, and I kind of always premise it like, okay, you don't have to, there's so many things. Like if you look at the WC3, there's so many things you can do, right? And that's another barrier because it's like, well, where do I start? What do I do? But I think if you just think of a few things, the emojis is one. The captions is so important because I think there's a study like me myself. I will do a scroll on the gram and I have my volume off. If I can't read what you're saying through a caption, I will scroll on by. So it's accessibility is so underutilized, but I think we also forget how accessibility actually helps everybody. And in saying that, I'm going to go back to the SEO. Like, if your content is accessible, if your website is accessible, that's going to get you above your competitors who aren't.
Yeah, and in terms of Google ranking, it ranks your website higher as well because
Yes.
Google will be able to read all the alt text and the text
Yes.
descriptions that you
Yes.
put under images and
Yeah.
understand what your website is about and what those images are about.
Yeah. That is 100% correct. Yes.
Yeah, and you don't need to know everything. Like I've worked in a disability space. I am still learning even from you today. Like those bullet point things, I had no idea. And I've worked with people who were using screen readers and
Yeah.
they did not mention that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the best way to really comprehend how bad emojis are as bullet points, if in your car, if your car can read a text message to you,
Mm.
if you sent yourself a message or got someone to send you a message with a bunch of emojis, like, and listen to it, like have it read it to you, you'll be like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to do that again. Like it's painful.
Yeah, so that's the like I know most phones have that function like text to voice or something.
Yeah.
That's how you can do that. Yeah, so I was
I
going
think
to say
really
something.
I think it's really important too to understand that like you don't know what you don't know, right? And that's
Mm.
these conversations are really important. Like, so when I started my business, I had a business coach who was adamant. She's like, get your website up, get a landing page up. And I'm like, no, I needed to have all this accessibility stuff, right? So I've got like my website widget and my accessibility statement and I was paying an expert, I'm air quoting here, to do this for me. And I don't think that person even knew themselves. And I was tired of waiting. So I literally at 11 o'clock at night watched 4 YouTube tutorials and I created my things. And I'm like, I didn't even know they were things. And I'm a graphic designer by trade, right? But I kind of have gone on my journey. Like, yes, I'm a mum of a disabled child, but as a business and as a website and as all the things, like I didn't know all the things that I know now and I'm still learning. And that's really key because I feel like you don't know what you don't know, even if you have been in the realm of that. And these conversations aren't to shame you, they're to empower you to be like, wow, I've learned, like how cool is it when you learn something random someday and you'll now change that. And that's all we want, but you don't know what you don't know, and that's okay. And I think again that comes back to the stigma of disability. People are scared to ask, and that's why the accessibility statement is so important, because if I see a business with an accessibility statement, I know that they are not going to be weird or awkward, that they're like willing to have a conversation. And that's where I will spend my money. And that's, there's a massive market. It's kind of, I think it's kind of weird in this really tough economic times. There's something you can do to kind of tap into an underserved market that's got money to spend and no one's doing it. It drives me a bit bonkers.
I feel like it's what you said at the beginning. It's like they don't know where to start, so then they feel overwhelmed and they put it in a too hard basket and then they just focus on other things.
Yeah.
But it's never too hard. And if you don't know, approach Simone. She's the best.
Yeah. Well,
Like I didn't know about accessibility statement. I'm
yeah.
gonna approach you after this.
And when I started this business, I really had to be like clear, like really in my own mind, like if Josh got sick, which he has recently got very sick, and also I have to not get annoyed and frustrated with people. Like, trust me, in my day-to-day life, it's very annoying, like, how you're excluded and not included and segregated. And that's kind of why I've gone super creative and do all the work I do, because it's like I'm here for those hard conversations because I know people don't know, and that's okay. Like, just like the brands when I started, they're like, we want to do this, but where do you get that talent from? And yes, there's barriers. You have to have the support workers with talent on set, and things take longer. Like, we've got a shoot coming up, and in with people without disabilities, it would be a half day shoot. For us, it's probably going to be about 3 days, because we've got people in wheelchairs and we've got support people, and the weather. And I've had a young girl on set who came to set and then pretty much told her mum that she wanted to go home, and I'm like, yep, cool, like, that's okay, you can go. And I paid her fee, and then she's like, oh, I've got money. And then she was into it, like, that's the realities of what we're working with. And I know that, and I call myself the concierge, because I understand the business side of things and can manage their expectations. And I can also look after the families and the support workers and the people with disabilities, understand their needs, and then we make the magic happen, because they've got me, like, as the mush in the middle, and I'm here for it, because I think, I want to see this change in the world, and I'll lead the way with my bit that I'm doing to make that change, and it's working.
That's really good. That's really good to hear. Because we need more people like you to be sort of like, well, like the mush in the middle. That's what we need, because people don't know what to do.
Yeah, and I tell people, and I will say this will be the hill that I die on, because I know from my community that the people like myself, like, I don't have a disability, I'm a mum, but I know I'm busting to see my family, my child included, represented, and so is everyone else amongst the disability community. And if you are kind and curious, you will never go wrong.
Wise words. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up by asking you one final question. So this podcast is called Create Like a Human. So what do you think you do that makes your business feel human, especially in this age where everyone's obsessed with AI?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I get asked this a lot. AI images and AI, oh, we could talk a whole day about AI, my love and hate of AI. AI imagery is tricky, and AI imagery of people with disability is not quite right yet. And I feel that the brands and businesses we work with want to be, if you want to be cut through, you need to be authentic. The biggest feedback I get is when we're talking about the mush in the middle, like, AI can't understand the brand and understand the person with disability, and that's the humanness of what we do. And we are also, it's kind of funny that people are shocked when I tell them that there's, hundreds of artists, hundreds of aspiring artists and creatives out there with disabilities that are busting to break into this industry, and where's their pathways and opportunities. And that's what we do as well. We create those pathways and opportunities and paid work for those people which wouldn't usually, have that opportunity. And I think the brands we work with really like that as well. You're not just buying an image, you're giving someone an experience, you're giving someone purpose and value and income. And AI, if anything, takes that away from people.
That was beautiful. Thanks for tuning in to Create Like a Human. If this episode sparked new ideas, I'd love for you to hit follow and leave a quick review. It will only take 2 minutes and means more people like you can find the show. Until next time, keep creating like a human.